We got coffee one day, and he was like, "So Kevin, what are you doing in Cleveland?" And I told him, and he's like, "What are you really doing? Like, what are you doing with your life?" I was like, "Oh, that's a really deep question. I wasn't ready to answer that, after a hit workout or whatever." And he's like, "You know what? I want to make a difference with my difference." And so ultimately, like, what I believe is, like, we're all born with a difference. It's something we all have, and we're on this journey to figure out what it is. And once we do, that's what we use to make a difference in this world. Part of my difference is standing out, and standing out physically, but it's also helping people to recognize and enjoy the small moments of life. And with my height and things like that, I tie it all in together, because I firmly believe, like, it's in the small that we recognize the big and things like this. And so, like, I was like, I want to achieve something where I have to work in these small daily tasks, in a sense, or small daily things to achieve something big. And he's like, "Okay, what does that mean?" And I was like, "You know what? Like, I don't know. Let's run a half marathon." And I was like, he's not going to say anything. I was like, he's like, and I was like, he's not going to make me do it. And he's like, "Pull out your phone right now." I was like, "All right." And he's like, "All right, let's look at the next half marathon." And it was like 12 weeks out. It was the Akron half marathon. And he's like, "All right, we're signing up for it. And you're going to train every single day for it." And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "All right, let's do it." And he's not a runner. So I'm like, this whole time, this 12 weeks, I'm thinking he's training with me. He's, doing the same runs. He's keeping the program. He's building the program for me. And I remember we get to race day. I was like, "So how's your training?" And he's like, "I haven't done any of it." Like, I'm just going to run it with you. And I'm like, what the heck? And, but honestly, like, that was like the biggest, to that point, fitness goal that I achieved in my life. And I was like, after I had crossed that threshold and had someone like that supported me in this, I was like, there's a world of possibilities out there. And was like, this was one way that I fell in love with my city. I fell in love with a community that I got to know really well in the area. And really, like, I just recognized that, like, I can do a lot more with my body than I thought I was capable of. And it's been kind of like I said, a slow progression since. And, I've had ups and downs and things like that. But really, I would say, like, that was like the spark that was like, whoa, like, there's something here that I could do. So,
was there any fear in the training process that it was like too big of a goal?
I think there was a couple times, like that first time where I think obviously the first weeks, I was like, there's no way I can do this. My knees weren't holding up. Like, I was getting blisters. I was like, this sucks. Like, what am I doing? And then I think continuously too, there was just like self-doubt, especially just with my height and my size. I was like, it's going to take me hours. And obviously it takes me a couple, but like, once I started realizing that, like, there's a point where you are in the run and you don't even think about it anymore. And when I would get to that point, like, everything would go away. And when I say that, like, I grew up just with a lot of like self-doubt, like I said, and body image issues and things, just like where I put a lot of internal pressure on myself. And I found running was that way that to release all that pressure. And so once I hit that point and recognized how good, like, it was just beyond the physical for me, I was like, it's a no-brainer for me to continue doing this for the rest of my life, or as long as I can.
What does that look like in practice, or like tangibly? So you said, it was like a relief or a breath of fresh air, or helped with the self-confidence. How would you put words to what that actually was?
Honestly, it was like, I've held life with like such a clenched fist that in the morning, so to speak, like, it would be easy for me to immediately worry about, like, I don't look good enough, or I am not good enough because of X, or I'm already a step behind everyone else. And it was nothing that anyone would say to me. So it was almost these internal, like, wrestlings that I would have in between my ears. And so, like, honestly, as I would run, it would just be like a release. And I know it's the endorphins and all these things, but like, by the time I was done, I had felt like I had accomplished something, or beat like the demons in my mind, or like the internal like wrestling. And I was like, you know what, like, I can get over this. And so I started to use that as a release, and like being a man of faith and as well. Like it became my time for prayer. So like this was like a perfect time to honestly just focus on me. And like, I don't run with music. I just, run just to run. And it's been the best time in the morning, and it's been the best times of my day, since.